There was a lot of reviews that game, so I'm pretty confident now. But yeah.
How did that, I guess, did that play sort of spark the defense early? Obviously, you guys had given up a big drive before, and, you kind of played that bend but broke, don't break sort of, so to speak, in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a goal of the defense is to, find any way to stop the momentum, to stop that offense from creating more plays. And, I was fortunate to be in that situation, and, that was a big play for our defense. Just to be able to get off the field, it's always big, and to leave the field with no points, it's a big deal.
Cody, how do you keep yourself, I guess, ready for those moments? You don't know necessarily going into a game that you're going to be on the field for that situation the way some guys maybe assume that they are. How did you stay ready to react to that play?
It's always comes back to preparation. I always prepare like I could be the guy to take every snap. So you have to be ready to do what it takes. And our coaches do a really good job of making sure we cover as much as we can in all the possible situations. And we knew kind of what we thought was going to happen, and I just wanted to play my job, and it worked out.
Does that play kind of happen in slow motion for you on the field, or does it go by in a second? Because you're blocking somebody downfield, then you have to turn, and you could tell there was that convergence between you and him who was going to get to the stick first.
Yeah, I it's tough to sometimes know where you are on the field a little bit. At that point, I just felt like the time was going too far, and then I had to make him make a decision, and yeah, that play it's a rare play that happens, 4th and 1 in the middle or kind of in the field of play, and so I just felt like I had to make a play, and it luckily it worked out in our way.
Cody, you said you guys had a pretty good idea they might try to do that there. How much did you talk about that specific play where they're trying to leak that pullback out with play action?
Well, I wouldn't say exactly that, but in the past I've gotten that play, and I've messed up on it last year, so it's always kind of in the back of our head, they pile everybody in just to entice you to come forward, and then they leak somebody out, and so it plays like that. Every offense kind of has one, so it's always a possibility that it can happen like that.
Cody, do you feel like the defense is seeing that more? It's a bunch of veteran guys now, where last year there was a lot of younger guys out on the field. Do you think that the defense hasn't really changed, but you guys have just seen more, so you know how to react to more things?
Yeah, I mean, and when you play at Ohio State, everyone kind of attacks you different ways and gives you new looks. So we're still working through all the little tricks and nuances that the offense will bring. So yeah, we're definitely more mature as a defense, but there's always going to be new issues and new problems that arise for our defense.
And then, have you ever seen Coach Day as animated as he was after the game?
No, yeah, he was fired up. I think our whole team was. So we knew the stakes of that game, and we knew that toughness was going to be the defining factor for that game. And it really always comes down to, like we talked about all offseason, just that 1 yard or that one play. So that's what we wanted to focus on, and it ended up in our favor.
Cody, have you guys embraced Ohio against the world, and what does that mean to you when you hear that?
Well, I think it's a level of pride that we want to be. We know that we're going to get the best out of everybody, and it's not that everybody's against us, but we are together, and when we're together, we're almost no one can beat us besides ourselves, and so we always just try to stay together as a unit.
What was the reaction like in the locker room to seeing the way Ryan Day commented after the game?
I don't have any comments on his comments, but we felt his love for us, and we felt like he always has our back, and so in turn we have his back. And so before the game, we always said we were behind Coach Day no matter what. He's our leader, and we'll always have his back. And it kind of came out in a lot of emotion at the end of the game. And we love to have people who care and people who know that they have our back and we'll have their back. And so that was kind of that moment there.
Did you players feel like you had a point to prove, though? That y'all heard criticisms off and on and stuff.
Yeah.
Did y'all feel like y'all had a point to prove in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, again, every game is a new battle. It's the hard part about being here. It's every team you play is going to give you your best shot. So it doesn't matter who you're playing. You got to be on every single cue and every single play. And obviously that game was a big game, but it's always comes back to your training and your fundamentals. And it's one play, and it's the next play. You don't want to make the moment too big, too much bigger than it actually is.
Cody, what stands out to you the most about the way Tyleik Williams is playing right now?
He's playing really well. He's violent with his hands. He's at it's hard to block him, and you could watch it on film. He's in the backfield almost every play. So, you know, I've seen it since he came here as a freshman that he was going to be a dominant player like that. So it doesn't really surprise me. You guys are seeing it on Saturdays now, but you know, he's a really, really skilled player, and you know, I'm just really happy for him that it's coming out and on big games like this, because he's really showing the world what he can do.
What did you see as a freshman that told you you'd be that dominant?
Oh, I remember when he came in spring ball, and he was just like, no one could move him, and he was a freshman, just didn't really know where he was going, but he was just in the plays, and he was dominant as a freshman. So I'm happy for him now.
Plus his hustle, he made the tackle on the last play of the game. You know, the rest
Yeah.
of that, when y'all thought it was all over, but it wasn't, right? I mean, what does that just speak about him?
You know, his instincts and his effort. You know, he gives a lot of effort, and you know, he gets tired. He gets tired after these games because he's playing so hard, and you know, it just speaks to his character and how much he cares for his other brothers on his team.
What's it been like to see Chip Trayanum go from coming in here as a linebacker last year to now playing as big of a role as he is at running back?
He's 100% a team player. You know, it's not easy to be able to get changed from position to position, even from transferring. So he's shown that he really all he cares about is Ohio State and the Buckeyes. And you know, I'm so proud of him. So happy that he was able to make that big play, and he's showing that the world really that all his effort and all his training and everything in the offseason, he was one of the hardest workers on our team. So I'm just so happy for him.
Someone else I wanted to ask you about, Lathan Ransom had a big impact throughout this game, and 13 tackles, 5 more than anyone else on either team. What did you see from him Saturday, and what has he provided to this defense this season? Yeah,
Lathan's super explosive, and he's super tough. Like he'll play through almost anything that ever happens to him. So I'm not surprised by it, because Lathan's that's the type of guy he is. He'll always go as hard as he can, and he's so violent. And you know, what you guys see on Saturdays, that's like every day for us. He's going to go as hard as he can, no matter what.
Was he playing through something Saturday?
I'm not really sure his actual medical injuries, but he's just playing. Everyone's playing banged up, but he just has stuff going on with his body.
What do you feel like y'all need to get right over this 2-week period? I mean, that's still maybe lingering out there. You know what I mean? Get straight heading into the last 8 games.
Yeah.
Just defensively.
The amazing thing about football is it's really all about fundamentals, and it's all about the basics. And you know, bye weeks that's the main focus of bye weeks, is getting back to, you know, being violent with your hands, footwork, communication. Like everything's all simple. And that's the thing about these big moments in games. You think it's miraculous plays, but it's really just the basics, and who can do their basics better than the other team.
Yeah, and that one stop y'all got on that 4th and 1 where I think it was Hartman kept the ball down. You may have already talked about this before I walked out, but Sonny Styles mirrored him all the way down the line, and Lathan fired.
Yeah.
What did it just tell you about those guys and where they are, et cetera, and getting the job done?
Oh, they're so instinctual. They know. I'm not gonna say they know what the play was coming, but we knew it was gonna be a sneak, and you know, they figured out where to be, and you know, they make the play, and it's you know, I don't really know what else to say, but it's just a great play from them.
Cody, what is that Sunday like when you kind of wake up finally after the late flight, getting back some sleep, and then you wake up? Like, what does it feel like? Is it surreal? Did it almost feel like that didn't happen? Like, take me through that. Yeah,
I mean, that was one of the best atmospheres I've ever been a part of. Their crowd in their stadium was off the charts, and you know, there was definitely like a deep breath that you let out. You know, like, wow, like that really happened, and it definitely helps with the bye week, and so you can kind of let yourself collect your emotions, and you know, it's a amazing event. But you know, now everybody's going to watch that film, and we know that we have to get back on our grind, and it's all about how can we follow up with that game, and like Coach Day said, like it doesn't matter. Like, this game could be so great, but unless we back it up week after week after week, it won't mean anything. So we have to keep pressing and keep getting better every week.
Did you guys give yourself at least a little bit extra to celebrate that win, given that there's a bye week? Or usually, I know that you guys try to turn the page on Sunday, but you have to give yourself at least a little bit of time to celebrate that one, right?
Yeah. The bye week definitely allows you to, you know, catch your breath, and we made sure we celebrated that one. That was probably the most electric our locker room's ever been after a game, and because we knew the moment was so big, and there was a lot of, you know, attention swirling around that game. It's College game day, you know, that's a big deal, and so to get a top 10 win like that was a really big deal for our team.
Cody, a couple weeks ago, Jim Knowles made the point that the defensive tackles aren't just taking up blocks to open up holes for you guys. They're actually making tackles. Talking about Tylee, How impactful is that for you guys as linebackers when he's just not taking on double teams, but he's breaking double teams to get tackled?
It's so important for us. You know, having great D-line play is essential to a good defense, and you know, those guys in the middle, they create havoc in the trenches there, and so it all it does is either clean up the look for us or they're making a tackle. You know, so it really there's no downside to when they can play violent like that, and they're consistently doing it. So we're happy that they're doing that.
Cody, what does the rest of the week look like for you? The bye week?
We just have more practices, I believe, and then I think we're off. I don't know. We have the weekend off, so that's all I know. But yeah, just more practices, and we're just getting back to our fundamentals, and it'll be like our normal practices, I believe.
Any fun plans for the weekend?
Just watching the games. I'll watch my brother play against Virginia Tech, so that'll be a good one.
How much self-scouting do you do in an off week like this, especially given coming off a game like that?
It's definitely important for the bye week to watch your tendencies and watch what you're given to defense or to offenses, and it's really what we're doing. We need to go back through the Notre Dame film, and because that's such an important game. A lot of our issues came out that game, so we need to double down and focus on those, and just the first 3 other games that we played, and you want to see what other teams would see from you, and that's a main focus for us, and just making sure all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Do you do that as a collective and individually? Is it,
Yeah.
You handle it both ways?
That would probably be more individually and positional, just because it's easier to focus on like your alignments or your movements or whatever.
Who do you think the best team in the country is right now? Have you seen enough football to make a statement?
No, I mean, if I didn't say it was us, I wouldn't have the trust in my
Past you guys.
body. I don't know. I'm only focused on the Ohio State
I just
right
want
now.
to see if you're paying attention.
Cody, what was Shane's reaction to Saturday's win?
Oh yeah, he's always super supportive. He sent me a text before we took off on the flight, but he had his own game, and I'm just super supportive of him too, and he's doing really well this season. So it's great to see him in his last year playing super well.
Was he extra excited for you, given the opponent?
Oh yeah, he had a very interesting career there, and it went well for him, and he's on a new chapter in his life, and I'm as supportive as possible for him right now, and he's doing really well there. So I think he just got announced for like a semifinals for an award, so he's doing pretty well.
34 games in, what is different about this defense from a year ago? I mean, from a confidence, is it confidence? What is it? Guys being where they're supposed to be. What is different about this defense?
I think the main difference is that we can expand on what we did last year. We were all kind of new to the system last year, and so now we kind of have an understanding of how Coach Knowles wants to coach us and how his scheme, like how he's making scheme up in his brain. So yeah, he's pretty impressive with his the way he thinks about defenses, and but I think it's that development in how we can be a more advanced defense, and that's what I think the biggest advance.
It looks like everybody knows where everybody's supposed to be on any different play, which didn't look that way sometimes last year and stuff. You understand what I'm saying? If you've got this guy's got that. I mean, that's simple football, but it takes a while to develop that, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and that's the thing again about football. It's just to have that level of focus every play. It's really hard. It's not easy to do, and what it looks like on TV may not be what it actually is underneath the camera. But I think we spend a lot of time trying to make sure every individual detail is worked out, and making sure like you could be off by one step and be out of the play. Like it's all it takes. It could be one step to the right and the play's going left and you're gone. So I think that's what the main focus is, just to make sure all of our details are perfectly ironed out, and it'll never be perfect, but that's our job to try to make it as close as possible and work every day to make sure it is as perfect as it can be.
What do you think a win over there does for in this type game, top 10, goes down to the wire? What does a win like that do for the confidence of this whole team?
It means a lot, 100%, a lot, but it goes back to our off season and the the pain that we felt from last season and how it was so close, like being able to get into that final game. It's so close, and we understand that all it takes is an inch to, like, you don't know when that inch is coming, but all it takes. And so to see that actually play out in real time, I think it allows our guys to believe more into that you don't know when the play is coming. So you have to be perfect, or as perfect as you can be at every time, and have to be as tough as you can be at every time, at every point, every play, because that play could be whenever. And I think it's just coming out to that game and how that game ended. It was such an important moment there, and I think our team is definitely going to respond, and we will lead on with more toughness and play as hard as we can, because we understand now that it really can play out to 1 inch or one play.
You guys talked about, Coach Day, and obviously the way that he went to bat for you guys. What did that mean to you guys to see your head coach out there, like, calling people out?
Yeah, I don't really worry about when he's calling people out, but I know, and it didn't take his words or anything to know that he really truly does love his guys and all his players and everyone who's involved with Ohio State and everyone in Ohio. Really, you don't really need his words. You know he goes to battle every day, whether it's practice or film or with media. Every day he puts on that shield of that block O, and he's shown his love for all of us. And I had no doubt. It didn't matter what was said or anything that went on before or after the game. Like, during that game, he's there for us no matter what, 100%.
You said that you guys know what Jim Knowles is thinking now. How long did that take, and is that a scary place?
No, I wouldn't say I know exactly what he's thinking. He tries to relay it into ways that can help us, but it's every week is different, every team is different. So to be able to match up against other teams, he'll definitely give us what he's thinking for that period. But the scary place, I don't know if it's a scary place, but he definitely has a lot of football knowledge that helps us in many ways.